difficult session for me. Now you've had such rock stars presenting to you. And I've been given the job of doing the closing keynote as well. So I've scribbled a few notes, which I'll talk about very quickly. So I run a lingerie brand, and the presentation was supposed to be full of pictures, but HP had a policy and they've taken down my entire presentation. So I'll make do with what I got. To give you some sense, very quick understanding, a very quick personal introduction just to get you on road as to, to talk about, what I've done in the past, so that there is some legitimacy to what I've done, because afterward, Amit and Ajay has presented, it's a huge task to kind of fill up those shoes. Started like a regular, software engineer straight out of IIT. Then started a small desktop-based search engine. It was a very hardcore technology tool. And while we were looking for funds and trying to figure out, what should we do next in terms of monetizing, we were approached by this international ad network, which was looking for inroads into India. They bought us out. 4 kids out of college, a lot of money in the bank, exciting times. Of course, a year and a half that we were into the thing, we wanted to set up a business in India. We thought that India is a product destination. And the first thing that they said was, yeah, this is going to be an R&D center here, because, India, of course, is, for them, India was TCS and Wipros of the world. And they said, what are you guys going to do? All you can do is code, right? So go ahead and just code. And a year and a half into the golden handcuffs, we said, no, we're going to go move out. And someday, somewhere, we're going to make a product company out of this country. And we kind of moved out. 2006, I started an educational technology company. It was an edtech business, way ahead of its time. Edtech today is like a big deal. And did it till 2012, raised institutional capital. So I'm on the other side from what Amit just said. The guys who managed to raise funds out of technology. And it's frankly, it's a brilliant, way that of kind of presenting that people, because now I'm on the other side of the table, because I'm doing a lingerie brand, and doing some real apparel business. And you realize that while even today, the power of tech to scale is by design, I think, the theme of the evening. And it's beautiful how every business has kind of tied it into their fabric in some way or the other, and kind of nailed it by Amit in the end, saying, yeah, while some places technology at a certain level is important, but the fad of technology per se also should be avoided in some ways, which brings a very beautiful perspective. So anyways, 2012, I exited. I started an incubator for a Swiss fund in India, ran it for a year and a half. And that is when we started Clovia, which is a lingerie brand. We are fairly sizable right now. We're selling a piece almost every 5-6 seconds now. 375 people in the organization. We set up an MSME ecosystem, which is now deploying and employing almost 3,000 plus people. So God has been kind. I think we've been through a beautiful journey. And the intent was that, if I could spend 10 minutes of walking through the journey that, we've been through, and take out bits and pieces of what we learned through those journeys, because this is my third journey per se. And every time there have been some nuances which are absolutely harmonious, and you can literally see that the pattern will always keep staying the same, right? So by design, we have fun people. We try to keep it fun, but business at the end of the day stays serious. A very quick walk through the Clovia journey. I understand that most of you here, at least the women will understand, but the men may not be that acquainted with lingerie as a business. It is not a very simple business to be in. While you boys out there have a typical, shirt size, which is, 34, 36, 38, in a women's size, the cup sizes come into play as well. So there are almost 40, 42 sizes for a typical product that we make. So while managing inventory for a male product is very simple, managing inventory for a female product in the lingerie segment is absolutely difficult, right? So traditionally, how has this industry evolved? How has the industry performed? I just want to talk like 2 minutes about the problem definition so that you understand what we are solving, and then stay very macro about things. I will try to keep the journey, concept short, but talk more about the macros of what we have learned, and how could they be useful to somebody. Even if one guy gets one piece of a learning, which could be relevant to them, then my job here is done. So it's a great opportunity. It's a $9 billion opportunity. It's crazy number of sizes, and you complicate it with a country like India, where a Northeastern size is very different from a South Indian size versus a West Indian size. Anybody who has been in the logistic business, gentleman was just there, I think you would absolutely understand the nuances that come into play, right? how can you ensure that you optimize on this, that Northeast may a certain side of padded push-up would probably sell more, but hey, the print sell more here versus the solid colors, and boom, you're gone again. So we were, how has the traditional industry handled this? For the last 20 years, the way this has been managed by most of the people in the industry has been, you make a certain set of products, right? So you'll make like 4 sizes, you'll make 5 styles, and you will push it to the entire country. Or it will go to a distributor will take it to a retailer. Retailer is the guy who's punting his money. So he would say, give me these 2 styles and these 3 sizes, and I will sell whatever comes my way. If you're a 32B woman and I have 32B, I'll say this will fit you. If you're a 32C woman, I have 32B, I will say this will fit you. So at the end of the day, it is the retailer who's taking the entire call. So we said, so we went and talked to the customers trying to understand what the challenges were, and it boiled down to the point where one of the women ended up saying in a tier 2 town that lingerie is meant to be uncomfortable. And we were like blown away. We said, this is second skin. How can that be an uncomfortable product? And that is the genesis of when we started, solving this problem. The biggest challenge at our end was that this has been an absolutely traditional industry which has been run for donkey years in an exact set pattern, right? Where the manufacturer makes, goes to a distributor, goes to a retailer in a certain set of sizes, and you optimize whatever you can over there. And we said, is there a way to disrupt this? Internet has come into play. Can we use internet to understand the feedback of consumption from the end customer and make a smarter choice in terms of addressing it, right? So that's what we tried to do. And we went into a shitload of technology trying to build something out and see, if we could actually make some sense out of it. So this was predominantly the problem definition of what we were trying to solve. How did this, when it started, we got to a point where he said, boss, this is impossible to do, because what we were trying to do was make 500 pieces of a product, which in traditional industry does at least 10,000 pieces, right? Put those out on the internet, try and understand what part of the country what is selling, basis which I immediately scale and say, boss, this is doing well, this is not doing well. I am feeding almost 200 styles. Even today, I feed almost 200 styles every month. And I have to understand this is working very well here, and let's scale this now to 20,000 and start selling. The technology of actually making 500 pieces was literally not available, and that will eventually bring me to the first learning of nuances of my business. So while I walk through the journey, I'll also try and talk of the nuances that we learned along the way. So I think our learning number 1 was get the tech team right. And frankly, whether I just spoke about, work top down, try and get the right people at the right places, and even in the panel, the major discussion was around people. This is exactly, the way we also understood. The 3 of us who started as founders, one is a production guy, one is a salesperson, other is a technology strategy operations guy. It's like an absolute harmonious balance of making things work. Literally, if even one of the pillars here fell down, everything would not have even started in the first place. And of course, this is the first year, and of course, the next year that happens also, has to happen in a similar fashion. I understand that the challenges of acquiring the, of these people, the salaries and all those, activities, but I'm keeping it very macro. I'm not going down to the challenges of building up a startup. I'm going down to a utopian scenario where I'm saying that if these 10 things need to be done, at what stage of the business you do it, whether you do it 8 years into the business, whether you do 20 years into the business. But if you want to be a 1,000 crore company, or you want to be a 2,000 crore company, at certain stage of time, these 10 or 8 principles will have to be met. There is no way of escaping them. So one is get your team right. Get your team right also comes with a very interesting caveat, and delegate, If you were Superman where you could, lift things, you could fly, you could do everything, that would be great, right? If you were Ravana with 10 heads and you could think 10 things at the same time, it would be, still a much easier play. But you're human, stay human, work to your strengths, and find the right people to do the job for you. That is how you'll end up scaling your business. Otherwise, I think we as promoters, the biggest challenge that we face is, I think the biggest thing that kills us is, ye to main khud kar lunga. Why would I pay you this? I can do this myself. Trust me, you cannot, because you might as well optimize your time into something better, which will actually end up scaling your business 20x. So one thumb rule that we've tried to keep in an organization today, of course, agnostic to stage. I'm talking of a certain stage of the business when you get there, but it's a thumb rule in my management team. If you can't find 2 hours of absolute silence to yourself in a day, it means as the CXOs, you're doing something absolutely wrong, because you don't have thinking time for the next 1 year when you're actually going to disrupt this entire ecosystem. Second is have an absolutely crazy positive attitude. It's a very rhetorical statement to make. I know, yeah, blah, blah, whatever, yeah, positive, yes, everybody understands that. But the important bit is the second part, have very positive people around you. So this interesting one time, when we were trying to set up the business, we were going to all the big factories and we said, hey, will you guys manufacture for us? We'll give you a big order. We have collected the money for it. I had some savings from the past which we put in there. But you make 500 pieces for me, and I will give you order for 20 SKUs. That still accounts for a very decent size order. And literally, the bigger factories, they would make me wait outside their office for 4 hours. When I would go inside, they would laugh at me, and then would just send me out, right? It's like, 20,000 pieces I make for a single style. Why would I do for a guy like you? I remember one time I woke up middle of the night and called up, one of my, co-founders, and I was literally on the verge of tears. I said, boss, I think this is not going to happen. I think we're done. And the voice on the other side simply said, tomorrow's another day, just go back to sleep. It was as simple as that. And the next day we woke up and, things happened. What we ended up doing was we got hold of, pattern masters in factories. We funded them a little bit of money and we made them start their own factories. And we said, you start the factory, I will give you the business, you make X amount of money, I'll give you only 70% of X today confirmed revenue. Which will feed your family, but you become an entrepreneur just like me, let's work on this partnership. That's how we started. I will do the entire fabric, I will give you the fabric, I'll give you the tech spec, I will give you the quality assurance, I will help you learn, I will give you the money for your machinery. Today, fast forward to today, I have 13 such factories working for us, more than 3,000 people working in these factories, and 37 of these, are those big daddies which had thrown me out of my office. Today, they sit outside my office. I make sure they don't wait more than 10 minutes because karma plays its role. So, this was like a huge learning for us. Another big learning for us has always been that play to your strengths. You should understand what you are and not try to be somebody else, right? Today, if I don't understand a certain aspect of design, in spite of being the CEO, I shut my mouth at the right time because I am not the guy who understands that. I will still not end up listening to my designer. If I understand the designer is still saying something which is not, making sense to my sixth sense, I will end up going back, talking to 5 customers and try and understand from them. But I will not discount the designer because I have to play to my strengths. So when I started the business, the biggest strength that I had as an individual contributing to the organization, because I am talking here, if my other co-founders were there, they would talk of their strengths. So, was technology, right? So we said, let's build in the tech to try and understand how can you literally disrupt this ecosystem, and this is how we guys did it. Today, if you buy a product from Clovia online, within 7 days of its delivery to you, you will get an automated email which will ask you feedback on the product. The feedback score on the product that comes back and the speed at which the product is selling is captured together, right? If you answer the feedback, you will get a discount coupon, so there is an incentivization. This feedback score and this speed of sale comes back with a replenishment score, which is an automated ecosystem. The replenishment simulator has become so strong that it starts telling you, boss, this product is a dud, this will do well, this is a dud, this is a dud, this will do well in these specific geographies. That automated ecosystem has now started making automated replenishment requests to a planning engine, which starts planning. What we are doing now is giving absolute Uber ratings to our vendors who at this, what is the turnaround time? What is the number of issues that we face? What are the quality issues that they come? How many rejections that they give? What is the speed of sale of the products that they made in terms of the returns that we get? Basis that each of them is now getting an Uber rating. I want to get into an ecosystem where there is no manual intervention anymore. I feed in 500 pieces and the system decides on its own the life of that product. That is the level of automation that we've ended up doing in this product. I feed in almost 200 styles every month, not more than 500 piece risk for a single product. And at no point of time I'm sleepless in night that if it doesn't sell, what will happen to me? Because my risk is 500 pieces, literally. That is the level of democratization that we managed to do with an absolute use of technology in the system. So, fourth, I think it was phenomenal what Ajay mentioned today was network. The way he talked of NASCOM, I think that is an absolute necessity. When I started my career, this is literally in my 3rd business is when I was able to break out of this problem that I had, that I have problem talking to people. I can make great friends, but I have problem talking to them, business to them. I literally used to start sweating and how do I present my business to this guy and all. So, but I knew that I have to change that. I absolutely have to change that. 2 years ago, we started to go into the offline space where we started to understand that online in itself will have a very good life of its own, but offline is where 98% of the customer is, right? And why would I devoid a customer of a good product? So it was a huge, huge problem. I did not understand offline as a business per se. I was a great technologist. I absolutely understood how the internet will work and all, but we had no clue. Today, 5 days a month, I'm traveling just to meet people. I have met every month I'm meeting at least 15 people at various stages, whether it will be a national sales head of a 45 crore brand or the latest gentleman I met was, a 1500 crore brand CEO who I would figure out a way to get 1 hour from them and try and get as much insights as possible. This network has literally helped us, capture the battle for ourselves. Today we have 13 of our own exclusive brand outlets doing exceptionally well. We are present in the Centrals and Brand Factories and Globuses and the Reliances of the world. We are present in multi-brand outlets. Each single one of them is technologically enabled, which is behaving exactly the way my online system works. Which is something which everybody keeps talking of, O2O, online to offline, and there's a lot of brouhaha and jargon around it. But this is something which we managed to do. Why? Because we were able to understand multiple expertise from people and try and consolidate into a real business of our own. So having that network is an absolute necessity, which I think a lot of us have that challenge. I mean, at least the people who are starting up have that challenge, and that is one thing that we need to overcome like as soon as possible. Fifth, again, it looks like rhetorical, but frankly, you are only as big as your vision. I mean, if you think that you'll be a 200 crore brand, you end up 150, you are done. You think you'll be a 1,000 crore brand, you'll end up being 900 probably, right? It is as big as you think yourself to be. This is what, of course, there were a lot of pictures here, and of course have been removed by HP, but so there are 4,000 crore innerwear brands of men at this point of time in India, and there's not even a single 1,000 crore brand in women, right? That is what we are fighting. We are saying that, it's about time that India changes. It's about time that the women of India understands that there is a certain challenge in the way you're buying your product, and we're out there to help you out. So that's the kind of vision that we started with. That's the kind of vision that we are embedding into each and every person in our organization. Something which the panel also spoke about, very, very, very nicely. Sixth is don't burn out. It's a very long journey. One thing that I've seen with people is that, please try not to burn out. Try and, do it as fast as possible. Take your time as soon as possible, right? Always have a plan B. I think cash flow has already been discussed. So, fight as hard as you can. But make sure that you preempt your challenges and you fight them so that you're never, worried about what's going on. And last and, not the least, keep digging as till the time you find gold, but know when to quit and pivot. A lot of time ego comes in the way and you feel that, so optimism or ego are not the same things, When your optimism converts into ego is something that you should be very careful about as an entrepreneur. So I think that's pretty much it from my side. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks to all the panelists of things that they've given, and special thanks to Mr. Day and the way he's explained about how the MSME is being held by the NSIC. I think it's a great initiative by the government, which we'll all kind of taking help from. Thanks a lot. You have a good day.
Thank you.